Hello, guys. This is Brian Lewis of the Spin Zone. Now we're on to Manchester United. The last week and a half have been so preseason. Okay, I'm just going to get right to the point here. Preseason, I remember talking to. We still have a group chat amongst us Reformed hooligans. Amar, Osahan, Felipe. We still have amongst us. There are a couple other groups in which I brought up this topic, and I said to everyone, Erik Ten Haag is not going to make it to our American Veterans Day, the European Armistice Day, which was the end of the First World War for history buffs out there. Erik Ten Hag's not going to make it to Armistice Day. Well, sure as shit, he didn't even make it to Halloween, man. They took that fat L to West Ham, and he got freaking canned, Donald Trump style. You're fired. So, with that, now, keep in mind, Manchester United were already looking at a couple of managers. Now, Ruben Amorim, the guy who they hired, was not the name that was out there. Obviously, Ruben Van Nistelrooy was supposed to be the caretaker coach. So if you think about it, you're thinking maybe they would have been able to hire this guy, maybe they would have been able to hire that guy, maybe they would have been able to hire this guy, etc. But Amorim, his resume is very impressive. The guy won a Liga NOS title with Sporting, considering that Sporting was probably the third most talented team in that league, with Benfica and Porto obviously having way more spending means than them. But then that roster doesn't lose a game that whole season. They didn't lose. Then, of course, he goes out last year and wins another league title with some different players. Now, they obviously have some real talents there. Victor Gyorkas, Osman Diamandi. They've had Nuno Mendes. They've had there are a couple of guys from sport. The Bruno Fernandes sale a couple of years ago, and I'll say this, and I've said this on Reform Hooligans repeatedly. That Bruno Fernandes deal between Sporting and Man United was the most beneficial transfer between a Portuguese and an English team in a long time. Because Sporting was hurting for dough. They needed money to reinvest in the roster. They had no depth. They were in a really bad place. Fernandes scored 35 goals the year before as a midfielder. Obviously, he took penalties and free kicks. I get that. But as a midfielder, he scored 25 to 35 goals. Are you freaking crazy? And then Fernandes obviously has become what he is at United. I personally think Fernandes has peaked and he's done. I think that's someone that they might have moved on from if they had gone with a different manager. Now, at the end of the day, Amorim is going to play a 3 in the back. I don't think United have the ability to really play the 3 in the back right now, the way that Amorim is picturing it. Now, Osman Diamandi and Gonzalo Inacio could be targeted. One of the two, maybe both, could be targeted at that center back role. But that also means that United have to figure out now what to do with Lisandro Martinez, what to do with De Ligt. Obviously, De Ligt and Martinez should be keepers. They're talented players. I think with the new coach, that could be beneficial. But if United can't just go in and buy all the Portuguese players the same way they bought all the Dutch dudes, because I can tell you right now, the same problem you're going to have at Ajax, where it's like, these guys are coming over, they're not good. Of all the players on Sporting, I love Sporting. Okay, I love Sporting. I think the only player that could make a transition to the Premier League and have a lot of success, other than Victor Gyorkas, because that's a dumb statement to say he was dope in the Championship, would be Pedro Gonçalves. And even then, I don't even know if he's that level. Like, I don't even think he's Spurs level. I think he's like, I don't even think he would play for Villa, to be honest with you. I think he would struggle getting on Villa's roster right now. Even like maybe a Nottingham Forest even. I don't even know if he would crack that starting 11 right now. And I love Pedro Gonçalves. So I think it's just different. Like, the leagues are different. It's hard to compare. Now, if Ruben's going to go with 3 in the back, I'm willing to see how that works. Now, if the Victor Gyorkas gets transferred to United, what are they going to do with Xerxes? What are they going to do with Rasmus Holland? They're going to have to play 2 strikers up front. So really, if that's the case, and it's already looking like Gyorkas is a target for United and Barcelona. I don't know how Barcelona are going to fucking afford that. But United might have to move on from Højlund or admit that they have to move on from somebody else. That's the problem they're in. Now, if there's extra investment, I don't think FFP means a damn thing after what's going on with Manchester City, nor should it. But again, it's a different argument. You look at Amorim's resume, Erik Ten Haag, all these transfers that he brought in, from Anthony to Onana to... Basically, he brought the whole Ajax roster except Frankie de Jong. And I think it became abundantly clear that Barcelona weren't going to sell de Jong. Had Barcelona sold Frankie de Jong to United, I still don't think you would have had a better result, because Frankie's not really a game changer at Barcelona. Like, he's good. He's a good player. But he's not like Toni Kroos. He's not Luka Modric. He's not like a game-changing midfielder. Like, he's not even... He's just not that guy. Like, it's just that there's not many that are at this point. Like, it's bonkers. I don't know. I just think with United, you bring in Amorim. It's a good hire. We don't know if it's a good hire, but it's a good hire, right? You're talking yourself into it. I just think Ten Hag had to go. And I think it was time that Ten Hag had to go. This goes back to United. They got rid of Jose Mourinho in the fashion that he did. And in the fashion that they did. To have had Lukaku, and then shame Lukaku. And I don't think he was that bad at United. But again, when you're at United, the fans expect a different caliber. Now, in the United States, I compare it to, like, the Lakers and the Yankees. That's pretty much where the United are at. Now, like the Lakers and the Yankees, both teams have had problems with winning championships in the last decade and a half. Now, the Lakers won their bubble title in 2020, and that was, it's a legitimate title. But, like, let's cut the crap here. Those fan bases expect to win every year because they're the biggest markets, they have the biggest means, they have the biggest fans, they have more fans. It's the way they think. United, be careful. Don't go buying half the stuff. If you're going to buy any player from Sporting, it's going to be Diamandi. Diamandi, I think, is perfect for United. He could play that right center back role, right next to Martinez on the left, De Ligt in the middle, and I think those three would actually do really well together. I think you have three very nimble guys that can move. Diamandi can play with the ball a little bit. I think he's a good player. And then we'll go from there. But poor Sporting. I don't know how they're going to bounce back from this. That's tough to get. Amorim really took them to the next level. Now, keep in mind, Benfica and Porto are probably the happiest about this. Because if you look at the Liga NOS standings right now, and I'm going to pull them up right now, Sporting is 10-0 and 0. They haven't even drawn. So it's 10 wins, 0 draws, 0 losses, 30 points. Porto and Benfica are 6 and 8 points back respectively. And then Santa Clara, out of Ponta Delgada, just freaking newly promoted. They were relegated the year before. So they were kind of like a team that seesawed. And they're in 4th right now. And crazy enough, they got like Gabby Silva, and Pedro Ferreira. They got a couple of guys that have bounced around some of the other teams in Portugal. So we'll see. I guess we'll see how Sporting bounces back and who they hire going forward. But Sporting have been nip and tucked by Manchester United. I mean, Cristiano Ronaldo was the star that Man United got from Sporting. So the saga continues. Not to quote Diddy, but the saga continues.